The small probe drifted silently through the darkness of space. Its metal skin reflected the distant light of Earth's sun as it recorded everything about the blue planet below. The probe had been sent by the Valtharian Empire, a species of tall, gray-skinned aliens who had conquered 12 solar systems already. Now they needed more resources, and Earth looked perfect. Back on the Valtharian homeworld, Commander Zexthar stood before the Emperor, his 4 arms crossed behind his back in a show of respect. "The planet is rich with water, minerals, and suitable atmosphere," Zexthar reported. "Their weapons are primitive. They fight among themselves over small territories. They will not stand against our might." The Emperor's 6 eyes narrowed with pleasure. "Prepare the invasion fleet. Take 10,000 ships. Bring me this Earth." Zexthar bowed low. "It shall be done, Your Eminence." On Earth, Lieutenant Kate Morrison sat at her monitoring station in the Deep Space Listening Post in Alaska. For 3 nights straight, she had detected strange signals that didn't match any known pattern. They were faint but regular, and they seemed to be moving closer. "Sir, I'm picking it up again," she said to her supervisor. Captain Roy Peters sighed and rubbed his tired eyes. "Lieutenant, we've been over this. It's probably just interference from that solar flare last week." "With respect, sir, solar flares don't create patterns this regular," Kate insisted. "And they don't move closer each day." Captain Peters patted her shoulder. "You need some sleep, Morrison. Take a break." "That's an order." Kate nodded reluctantly and left her post, but she didn't go to her quarters. Instead, she copied the signal data onto a drive and headed to the communications room. She needed to send an email to someone who might believe her, retired Colonel John Baker, her former mentor at the Academy. 200 miles above Earth, aboard the International Space Station, astronaut Paul Ellis was taking photographs of Earth's night side when he noticed something unusual. A cluster of lights that didn't match any city pattern was moving slowly across the Pacific Ocean. He blinked and looked again. The lights were definitely there, and they weren't ships or planes. They were too high, almost at the edge of the atmosphere. "Houston, this is Ellis. I'm seeing something strange up here," he radioed. "Go ahead, Ellis," came the reply. Multiple lights moving in formation. Too high for aircraft, too low for satellites. They're heading eastward across the Pacific. There was a pause before Houston responded. "Our systems aren't showing anything unusual. Could be a reflection on your window." Paul frowned. "Negative, Houston. I'm seeing this with my naked eye. Log it, and we'll review your footage when it comes down. Don't worry about it." But Paul did worry. He took as many pictures as he could before the lights disappeared over the horizon. Back in Alaska, Kate Morrison received an encrypted reply from Colonel Baker. "Meet me tomorrow. The old fishing cabin. Bring everything you have." The next day, Kate sat across from John Baker in his remote cabin. The retired colonel was in his 60s now, with gray hair and wrinkled skin, but his eyes were as sharp as ever. He studied the signal data on his laptop. "You were right to come to me," he said finally. "This isn't random noise. This is communication, and it's not ours." "Aliens?" Kate asked, hardly believing it herself. John nodded slowly. "Possibly. And if I'm reading these power signatures correctly, they're mobilizing something big. What do we do? I still have some contacts in Washington, but they'll need more than this to take us seriously." He closed the laptop. "Keep monitoring. Record everything. I'll make some calls." As they spoke, in the darkness beyond Mars, 10,000 Valtharian warships formed into attack formation. Commander Zexthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the holographic image of Earth. "Such a small planet," he said to his second-in-command, "and so unprepared." "Our scouts report they have nuclear weapons," his officer mentioned. Zexthar laughed. "Primitive tools. They will never see us coming until it's too late." He turned to his crew. "Set course for Earth. We begin the invasion in 7 cycles." The massive fleet began to move, their engines glowing blue against the blackness of space, heading toward the unsuspecting planet. The Valtharians were coming, and they expected an easy victory. They had no idea what awaited them. 3 weeks passed before anyone in power took Kate Morrison's discovery seriously. It wasn't until multiple space agencies around the world detected the approaching fleet that emergency meetings were called. By then, the Valtharian ships were already passing Jupiter. The United Nations building in New York was packed as world leaders gathered. Colonel John Baker stood at the podium, pointing to the large screen behind him showing hundreds of blinking dots moving toward Earth. "This is not a drill or a mistake," he said firmly. "We are facing an alien fleet of unprecedented size. Based on their speed and trajectory, they will reach Earth in 5 days." Murmurs filled the room. A woman in a sharp blue suit stood up. "How do we know they're hostile? They could be peaceful explorers." John shook his head. "The formation is a classic attack pattern. We've intercepted communications that suggest invasion plans." The President of the United States stepped forward. "We need to prepare for the worst. I'm authorizing full military readiness and suggesting all nations do the same." After the meeting, Kate Morrison was summoned to the Pentagon. She found herself in a room with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and several scientists. "Lieutenant Morrison," said General Alan Wright, "you're being promoted to head a special communications unit. Your job is to continue analyzing these alien transmissions. We need to understand what they're saying." Kate nodded. "Yes, sir. I'll need a team and better equipment." "You'll have whatever you need," the general assured her. Across the country in California, NASA engineer Susan Williams was called into an emergency meeting. For the past week, she had been tracking patterns in the alien ships' movements. They adjust their formation every 14 hours, she explained to her supervisors. "It's almost like they're dancing around each other. I believe it has something to do with their propulsion system." Her boss nodded. "Keep working on it. If we understand how they move, we might find a weakness." Meanwhile, civilian engineer Frank Howard was studying video footage of the alien ships taken by space telescopes. He noticed something odd about the way light behaved around them. "They must have some kind of energy shield," he told his colleague over coffee. "But look at this frame." He pointed to his laptop screen. "When they pass through Saturn's rings, some of the particles penetrate. The shields aren't perfect." 2 days before the fleet's arrival, the Valtharians sent their message. Every television, radio, and computer screen on Earth suddenly displayed the same image: a tall, gray alien with 4 arms and 6 eyes. "People of Earth," the creature spoke in strangely accented English, "I am Commander Zexthar of the Valtharian Empire. Your planet has been claimed for our Emperor. Surrender now, and some of you may be permitted to live as servants. Resist, and you will be eliminated. You have 1 Earth day to respond." The message caused widespread panic. People fled cities, stockpiled food, and prayed to their gods. World leaders gathered again to decide Earth's response. "We can't surrender," said the Russian president. "These creatures will show no mercy either way." "But how can we fight 10,000 alien warships?" asked another leader. Colonel Baker spoke up. "We fight smart, not just hard." Kate Morrison's team has made progress understanding their communications. Frank Howard has identified potential weaknesses in their shields. Susan Williams is finding patterns in their movements. We have advantages they don't expect. The Chinese president nodded. "We unite all our forces. For the first time in history, Earth must stand as one planet." Up in space, Commander Zexthar received no formal response from Earth. Instead, he watched as military satellites changed positions and detected unusual energy readings from the planet's surface. "They choose to fight," he told his officers. "How amusing." His second-in-command looked concerned. "Commander, our scouts report they are coordinating their defenses globally. This is unusual for their species." Zexthar waved dismissively with one of his 4 arms. "It changes nothing. Prepare the first wave of attack ships. Target their communication centers and military installations first. As the alien fleet moved past the moon, Earth's combined space forces took up defensive positions. Pilots said goodbye to loved ones, knowing many wouldn't return. Engineers worked frantically to upgrade weapons based on Howard's shield research. The calm was ending. The storm was about to begin. The attack began at dawn. The sky turned red as hundreds of Valtharian ships entered Earth's atmosphere. Their first targets were the satellite networks. Beams of blue energy shot out from the alien vessels, cutting through Earth's orbiting technology like scissors through paper. In the Pentagon war room, screens went dark one by one. Kate Morrison and her team worked frantically to maintain communications using backup systems. "They're taking out our ice first," Colonel Baker said grimly. "Classic military strategy." General Wright nodded. "Launch all available fighters. Activate the laser defense grid." Around the world, military jets scrambled into the air. They seemed tiny compared to the massive alien ships. The first human pilots to engage the enemy were from the Japanese Air Force. They fired missiles at the closest Valtharian vessel, but the weapons exploded against an invisible shield, doing no damage. "Shields are holding at full strength," reported a Valtharian officer to Commander Zexthar. The commander watched with satisfaction as his ships destroyed Earth's primitive defenses. "Begin landing operations. Secure their major cities." But then something unexpected happened. A squadron of American fighters approached a Valtharian ship using a new attack pattern developed by Susan Williams. Instead of firing directly at the ship, they targeted specific points as it moved, hitting the same spot repeatedly. "Their shields fluctuate when they change direction," Susan had explained. "There's a half-second window where the same area can be hit multiple times." The strategy worked. After the fifth hit in the same spot, the alien shield flickered and failed. The next missile struck the ship directly, causing a massive explosion. In his command ship, Zexthar received the news with shock. Impossible. How could they know about the shield cycle? On Earth, Frank Howard watched the battle from NASA's control room. His theory about the shields had proven correct. He immediately sent updated targeting information to all military forces. "Aim for the lower rear quadrant when they turn. The shield is weakest there." More alien ships began to fall, but Earth was still taking heavy damage. The Valtharians' weapons easily destroyed buildings, bridges, and power plants. Thousands of people died in the first hour of the attack. Kate Morrison's communications team managed to tap into the alien command frequency. She couldn't understand their language, but she could disrupt it. Her team broadcast interference on the same bands the Valtharians used. "What's happening?" Zexthar demanded as his ship lost contact with half the fleet. "Restore communications immediately." His officers worked desperately to change frequencies, but Earth's transmitters followed them, continuing the disruption. By midday, the battle in the skies was fierce. Human forces had destroyed 27 alien ships, but lost hundreds of their own aircraft. The Valtharians began landing troops in major cities, tall gray soldiers with advanced weapons. Colonel Baker coordinated the ground defense. "Don't engage them in open spaces," he instructed the troops. "Use the buildings for cover. Hit and run tactics only." As night fell, Earth forces retreated to regroup. The first day of battle had been devastating. Several major cities were partially destroyed. The death toll was in the tens of thousands. In the remains of a military base outside London, General Wright met with other military leaders via a secure line that Kate's team had established. "We can't win this way," said the British commander. "We're losing too many people." "But we destroyed some of their ships," replied the Chinese general. "They aren't invincible." Frank Howard joined the call. "I've analyzed the wreckage from the ships we shot down. Their technology is advanced, but not magic. We can adapt." Colonel Baker nodded. "We need to change our approach. Conventional warfare won't work against them." On his command ship orbiting Earth, Zexthar was not celebrating. He sent a message to the Emperor. "The humans are more resourceful than we anticipated. They have damaged some of our ships and disrupted our communications. Conquest will take longer than expected. The Emperor's reply was brief and cold. Failure will not be tolerated, Commander. Take this planet, or do not return. Zexthar looked down at the blue planet, partly obscured by smoke from the battles. The humans had surprised him today. They would not do so again. He ordered his fleet to prepare for the second wave of attacks. But on Earth, humanity was already adapting. The leaders of Earth met in an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was filled with military generals, scientists, and politicians from every major nation. All borders and old conflicts had been set aside in the face of extinction. "We need to pool all our resources," said the American president. "Every weapon, every scientist, every factory must be dedicated to this fight." The other leaders nodded in agreement. For the first time in human history, the world truly united. Colonel John Baker stood up with a tablet in his hand. "Traditional warfare won't work against their technology. We need to fight smarter." He pulled up a map showing guerrilla-style defense positions, small, mobile units that can strike and disappear before they can respond. In a lab beneath MIT, Frank Howard worked day and night analyzing pieces of a crashed alien ship. The metal was like nothing he had ever seen before, but the electronics followed logical patterns. He gathered a team of engineers from around the world. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a circuit board. "Their shields operate on a rotating frequency. If we can build weapons that switch frequencies at the right moment, we can penetrate their defenses more effectively." His team began designing new weapons using Earth technology combined with what they learned from the alien wreckage. Factories around the world shifted from making cars and appliances to producing these new weapons. Meanwhile, Kate Morrison made an important discovery. She noticed that when Voltharian ships flew through storm clouds, their communications became distorted. "Earth's atmosphere affects their transmissions," she explained to her team. "The moisture, the electrical charges in our air. It's all foreign to them. We can use that." Kate developed a plan to seed the clouds with special particles that would enhance this effect, making it harder for the aliens to coordinate their attacks. At NASA, Susan Williams analyzed data from hundreds of alien ship movements. "Their navigation systems seem confused by Earth's magnetic field," she told her colleagues. "They make small course corrections when passing over the magnetic poles." She began designing a way to amplify and manipulate the magnetic field to disrupt alien ships. Ordinary people joined the effort too. Farmers used their equipment to hide military units. Teachers turned schools into hospitals. Auto mechanics helped build makeshift weapons. In a small town in Ohio, 12-year-old Lily Evans discovered that her ham radio could pick up alien communications. She became part of a network of civilian radio operators, helping Kate's team map enemy positions. Colonel Baker traveled across the country, training civilians and soldiers alike in new tactics. "Don't fight them head-on," he instructed. "Use the environment. Use what we know about Earth that they don't." 5 days after the initial attack, humanity launched its first coordinated counterattack. In the skies over Australia, fighter jets equipped with Frank's new frequency-shifting weapons engaged a group of alien ships. "Target locked," reported pilot Alex Rodriguez. "Firing now." The new weapons worked better than expected. 3 alien ships fell from the sky. At the same time, Kate's atmospheric disruption caused the Voltharian communications to fail. The aliens couldn't call for backup. In orbit, Commander Zexthar watched with growing concern. The humans were adapting much faster than expected. His officers brought more bad news. 27 ships lost in the last Earth day, Commander. The humans are using our own technology against us. Zexthar slammed his fist on the control panel. How are they learning so quickly? This was supposed to be an easy conquest. His second-in-command looked nervous. "The Emperor is demanding progress, sir. He wants to know why 10,000 ships haven't secured one primitive planet yet." Zexthar turned to his battle planners. "Prepare half the fleet for a full-scale attack. We will crush their major population centers and break their will to resist. On Earth, satellite imagery detected the alien fleet repositioning. General Wright called an emergency meeting. "They're preparing something big," he announced. 5,000 ships moving into attack formation. Susan Williams stood up. "My team is ready with the magnetic disruption system." Frank Howard nodded. "And we've distributed the new weapons to forces worldwide." Kate Morrison added, "Our communication jammers are in place." Colonel Baker looked around the room at humanity's best minds. "Then it's time to spring our trap." The second phase of the war was about to begin, and this time, Earth was ready. The night sky lit up with thousands of lights as Commander Zexar launched his massive attack. 5,000 Valtharian ships descended toward Earth, their weapons glowing blue with charged energy. This would be the decisive blow to crush human resistance. "All ships, target their largest cities and military bases," Zexar ordered. "No mercy." But Earth was ready. As the alien ships entered the atmosphere, they passed through clouds that had been seeded with Kate Morrison's special particles. Immediately, their communication systems filled with static. "I can't contact the left flank," reported a Valtharian officer. "Ignore it. Continue the attack," Zexar commanded. In military bases around the world, pilots climbed into jets armed with Frank Howard's new weapons. The missiles now contained a system that could match and counter the alien shield frequencies. "Remember your training," Colonel Baker told the pilots over the radio. "Don't bunch up. Hit and run. Use the cloud cover." The human fighters took off, looking tiny compared to the massive alien ships. But size wasn't everything. Pilot Maria Gonzalez locked onto an alien vessel over Mexico City. Target acquired. Firing. Her missile streaked toward the Valtharian ship, its tip glowing as it cycled through frequencies. When it hit the alien shield, it matched the exact frequency and passed through, exploding against the hull. The ship tilted and began to fall. Similar scenes played out across the globe. The new weapons were working. Meanwhile, Susan Williams activated her magnetic disruption system. Giant electromagnetic pulse generators that had been placed at strategic locations around the world powered up. The Earth's natural magnetic field began to fluctuate wildly, confusing the aliens' navigation systems. "Something's wrong," a Valtharian navigator said in panic. "The planet's magnetic field is changing." Alien ships began to drift off course. Some crashed into each other. Others flew too low and hit buildings or mountains. Commander Zexar watched in horror as his attack formation fell apart. "What is happening? How are they doing this?" Kate Morrison's team took the disruption even further. They had cracked enough of the alien language to send false orders to the fleet. "This is command," said a message in the Valtharian language. "Retreat to Sector 7. Hundreds of confused alien ships changed course, heading away from their targets and toward waiting human fighters. The battle raged for hours. The sky was filled with explosions as alien ships fell. Human cities took heavy damage, but the defense was working better than anyone had dared to hope. By dawn, the results were clear. Over 800 Valtharian ships had been destroyed. Hundreds more were damaged and retreating to orbit. It was still a small fraction of the total invasion force, but it was unprecedented. In the underground command center, cheers erupted as the numbers came in. "We did it," General Wright said, his voice filled with relief and surprise. "We actually hurt them." Frank Howard nodded, exhausted after days without sleep. "The weapons worked even better than I calculated." Kate Morrison was already planning the next step. "We need to push our advantage. They're confused and disorganized right now." Susan Williams agreed. "My team is working on a way to extend the magnetic disruption into orbit. We might be able to hit their command ships." Colonel Baker studied the battle maps. "We lost good people today too. But for the first time, I think we have a real chance." In orbit, Commander Zexar faced the fury of the Emperor via holographic communication. "You promised an easy victory," the Emperor raged, his 6 eyes blazing. "Instead, you lose hundreds of ships to primitives." The humans are more advanced than our scouts reported, Zexthar tried to explain. They adapt quickly and... Silence. The Emperor cut him off. You have one more chance. Take half of your remaining ships and finish this. Failure means your death. The communication ended. Zexthar turned to look at Earth through the view screen. The blue planet now seemed far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. Prepare 4,000 ships for the next wave, he ordered. We will attack every continent simultaneously. They cannot defend everywhere at once. But on Earth, humanity's confidence was growing. The aliens could be hurt. They could be beaten. And the real fight was just beginning. 2 weeks after the major battle, scientists and engineers across Earth worked day and night studying the downed alien ships. They were making rapid progress understanding Voltharian technology. Their propulsion system uses some kind of controlled gravity field, Frank Howard explained to military leaders as he pointed to parts from a crashed ship. If we can replicate this, we could build ships that can travel to their fleet in orbit. In another lab, Kate Morrison's team had broken more of the alien language code. We can now understand about 60% of their communications, she said. And more importantly, we can create fake messages they'll believe are real. Colonel Baker had been working on a bold plan. He addressed the Joint Military Command. We need to capture an intact alien command ship, he said. Their regular ships have limited information, but a command vessel would give us their full battle plans and maybe even the location of their homeworld. His plan was dangerous. A small team would use a captured alien shuttle to approach a Voltharian command ship, board it, and take control. General Wright approved the mission, despite the risks. Who will lead this? He asked. Baker stood straight. I will, sir. Meanwhile, Susan Williams had made another breakthrough. She had found a way to create a computer virus that could infect Voltharian navigation systems. Their computers are advanced, but not that different from ours in basic structure, she explained. This virus will make their ships think they're somewhere they're not. It could cause chaos in their fleet. The pieces were coming together for humanity's first major counterattack. Frank Howard's team had modified several large military aircraft with elements of alien technology. They weren't as good as Voltharian ships, but they could reach orbit and had basic shields. The night before the mission, Colonel Baker met with Kate Morrison. Your fake communications will be key to this working, he told her. If they realize we're coming, we'll never make it to the command ship. Kate nodded. We'll create a fake emergency on the other side of their fleet. It should draw away most of their defensive ships. At dawn, the counter-offensive began. Kate's team broadcast false alarms to the Voltharian fleet, reporting a human attack near the moon. Many alien ships moved to respond. Colonel Baker's team of 20 soldiers boarded the captured Voltharian shuttle. They all wore modified alien armor taken from dead invaders. Everyone remember the plan, Baker said. We dock, we move quietly to the bridge, we take control. In and out in 30 minutes. The shuttle lifted off, its alien engines humming. At the same time, 50 modified human ships also launched, heading toward the distracted Voltharian fleet. Commander Zexthar received reports of the human attack near the moon and ordered ships to defend. Keep the command vessels back, he ordered. They cannot fall into human hands. But he didn't realize one command ship was about to receive what appeared to be a routine supply shuttle, Baker's team in disguise. The shuttle docked successfully. Baker and his team moved through the alien ship, their modified armor allowing them to blend in. When they reached the bridge, they struck quickly, using stun weapons developed from alien technology. Bridge secured, Baker reported through a secure channel to Earth, beginning data download. His team connected devices to the alien computers, copying everything they could. Outside, the battle was growing larger. The human ships engaged the alien fleet, using Susan's virus to confuse enemy navigation. Hundreds of Voltharian ships began moving erratically, some firing on their own allies by mistake. From his flagship, Zexthar watched in growing horror as his fleet fell into chaos. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Our systems are compromised," an officer reported. "Ships are receiving conflicting navigation data." Another alarm sounded. "Commander, Command Ship 14 has stopped responding." Zexthar slammed his fist down. "The humans have boarded it. Destroy that ship immediately." But it was too late. Colonel Baker's team had what they needed. They returned to their shuttle and undocked just as Voltharian weapons targeted the command ship. "Mission accomplished," Baker reported as they escaped. "We have their complete battle plans, technical data, and star charts." On Earth, military leaders received the news with excitement. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity wasn't just defending. They were taking the fight to the enemy. And the Voltharian fleet, once an unstoppable force, was beginning to fall apart. The data from the captured command ship changed everything. Earth now had the complete Voltharian battle plans, technical specifications for their weapons, and most importantly, the location of Commander Zexthar's flagship. In the underground war room, military leaders from around the world gathered to plan the final attack. "This is our chance to end this war," General Wright said, pointing to a holographic display showing the alien fleet. "We strike directly at their command structure." Kate Morrison's team had pinpointed the exact location of Zexthar's flagship using the stolen data. "It's here, on the dark side of the moon." He's coordinating the entire invasion from this position. Frank Howard had more good news. "We've adapted their shield technology to our larger vessels, and we've built weapons that can penetrate their strongest defenses." Colonel Baker, still recovering from wounds received during the command ship mission, outlined the attack plan. 3 groups. The first will create a diversion near Mars. The second will attack their supply ships in Earth orbit. The third will go after Zexthar directly. The plan was set. Every available ship and pilot was called into service. Humanity would throw everything they had into this final battle. On his flagship, Commander Zexthar was growing desperate. The Emperor had sent a final warning: succeed or be executed. He gathered his remaining forces, about 2,000 ships. "The humans have been lucky," he told his officers. "But luck runs out. We will crush them with one massive attack on their largest cities. No more strategic targets, just destruction to break their will." He didn't know that his every word was being monitored by Kate's team, who had cracked his personal communication codes. The day of the final battle arrived. Earth's combined fleet of modified ships, about 500 in total, launched into space. They were outnumbered 4-1, but they had surprise on their side. The first group, led by Russian and Chinese pilots, headed toward Mars as planned. Voltharian scouts spotted them and reported back to Zexthar. "The humans are attacking our fuel depot near Mars," a Voltharian officer reported. "Send 500 ships to destroy them," Zexthar ordered. The second group, mostly European and African forces, engaged the Voltharian supply ships in Earth orbit, drawing away another 800 alien vessels. "They're splitting their forces," said Susan Williams, monitoring the battle from Earth. "It's working." The third group, led by American and Asian pilots, used the confusion to slip behind the moon, approaching Zexthar's flagship undetected. Colonel Baker, despite his injuries, commanded this group from the lead ship. "All vessels, activate Susan's navigation virus now," Baker ordered. The virus uploaded to any Voltharian ship that came within transmission range, scrambling their navigation systems. Alien ships began to drift off course, some crashing into each other. Kate Morrison's team flooded the alien communication channels with false orders and misleading information. "Retreat to Sector 9. Flagship under attack from the south. Human forces detected on the lunar surface." The confusion spread through the Voltharian fleet like wildfire. On his flagship, Zexthar realized too late that he had been outmaneuvered. Alarms blared as Baker's attack group appeared on sensors. "How did they get so close?" he roared. "Where are our defensive ships?" "They're all engaged elsewhere, Commander," An officer replied, panic in his voice. The Earth ships opened fire with weapons designed by Frank Howard. The specialized missiles penetrated the flagship's shields and struck critical systems. Direct hit, reported a human pilot. Their main engines are disabled. Baker's voice came over the communication system. All ships focus fire on their command center. More missiles hit the flagship, causing explosions throughout the massive vessel. On the bridge, Zexthar watched as his controls failed. Send a message to the fleet, he ordered. All ships converge on my position. But Kate's team intercepted the message and blocked it from being transmitted. Baker's ship moved closer to the crippled flagship. Boarding teams, prepare to launch. We're taking Zexthar alive. Special Forces teams in advanced spacesuits launched from Earth ships and headed for the damaged sections of the flagship. They fought their way through the corridors, facing desperate Valtharian soldiers. On the bridge, Zexthar received the worst news of his life. Humans have boarded the ship. They're heading for the bridge. He looked out at the battle raging around his flagship. His mighty invasion force was falling apart before his eyes. 10,000 ships reduced to scattered, disorganized groups fighting for survival. And then the bridge doors exploded inward. Colonel Baker stepped through the shattered doorway onto the bridge of the Valtharian flagship, flanked by soldiers in armor made from captured alien technology. Commander Zexthar stood at the center of the room, his 4 arms raised in a gesture of surrender. It's over, Baker said simply. The capture of Zexthar marked the turning point in the final battle. With their commander taken and their flagship under human control, the remaining Valtharian forces fell into disarray. Some continued fighting, but many attempted to flee. In the end, only 57 alien ships managed to escape Earth's solar system. The rest were either destroyed or captured. The greatest invasion fleet ever assembled had been defeated by the very primitives they had come to conquer. 3 months later, Kate Morrison sat across from the captured Valtharian commander in a special containment facility. Zexthar had been surprisingly cooperative since his capture. Your Emperor will send more ships, Kate said. Zexthar made a sound that translated as laughter. No, the Empire does not reward failure. Those who escaped will tell of Earth's strength. No Valtharian will approach your world again. Through interrogation and the data recovered from his ship, Earth learned about the wider galaxy. There were hundreds of inhabited worlds, many of them suffering under Valtharian rule. There are others who hate the Empire, Zexthar revealed. Worlds that would ally with you, if they knew of your victory. Kate used this information to establish communication with some of these potential allies. For the first time, Earth made peaceful contact with other civilizations. Meanwhile, Frank Howard led efforts to adapt alien technology for human use. The first Earth-built ship with Valtharian propulsion systems was completed within a year of the war's end. This vessel can reach Alpha Centauri in just 12 days, Frank explained at the unveiling ceremony. What once seemed impossible is now reality. Susan Williams directed a program to develop a planetary defense system. Using alien shield technology, Earth could now protect itself from any future threats from space. We'll never be caught unprepared again, she said as the first shield generators were activated around major cities. Colonel Baker, now General Baker, trained a new generation of soldiers and pilots for the United Earth Defense Force. The united military that had formed out of necessity during the invasion remained as a permanent protection for the planet. The galaxy is full of wonders, he told the first graduating class of space pilots. But it also has dangers. We must be ready for both. In cities around the world, reconstruction continued. The invasion had destroyed much, but it had also united humanity in a way nothing else could have. Old conflicts seemed petty compared to the threat they had faced together. 5 years after the invasion, the first human diplomatic mission prepared to leave for a neighboring star system. Kate Morrison, now Earth's ambassador to the stars, would lead the mission. Before leaving, she visited Zexthar one last time. The former commander was helping scientists understand alien biology and culture in exchange for comfortable confinement. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you sent your fleet to invade us?" Kate asked him. Zexthar shook his head. "Never. We thought your planet would fall in days. Instead, you defeated us and now prepare to take your place among the stars." "What will happen when the ships that escape reach your homeworld?" she asked. "They will tell of Earth's might," Zexthar replied. "Of how you destroyed 10,000 ships. The story will grow with each telling, until Earth becomes a legend no Valtharian would dare challenge again." As Kate's diplomatic ship left orbit, she looked back at the blue planet. Earth had faced extinction and emerged stronger. The invasion that was meant to destroy humanity had instead pushed it to evolve, to unite, and to reach for the stars. The few Valtharian ships that escaped spread their tale throughout the galaxy. They spoke of a small blue planet with fierce defenders who had done the impossible. They told of humans who turned their own technology against them, who learned and adapted faster than any species they had encountered. And throughout the galaxy, the story was told. They sent 10,000 ships to invade Earth. Only a few survived to tell the tale.